Growing up, I was constantly bullied, getting tripped in hallways, shoved into lockers, random punches in the back from the strongest kids. That was my life. Honestly, what hurt me the most was the name calling. The pain of name calling is very different to that of physical abuse. Being called Four Eyes, it might be funny to some, but hurtful to others. Hearing yourself referred to as Beaver Boy because you've got big front teeth is something that makes you feel pretty tiny. Instead of crying in public, I'd hide wherever I could. You might have been in a similar situation at one point in your life. It's also possible that you experiencing it today. So I'm here to tell you that it gets better. And happy endings, they happen. Happy endings happen. For the 4 years of high school, I was picked on to no end. Like when other students would knock my glasses off my head as I walked down the hall. I quit the baseball team after verbal abuse from my teammates, being blamed for, game losses when it wasn't in my control at all. And it became too much to handle. So the day I quit, my ex-teammates decided that they would wait for me in the parking lot with their baseball bats in hand. In the cafeteria, I was shoved off the bench and I had food like applesauce and ketchup and whatnot dumped down my shirt. And that's what I came to expect every single day. The last straw was when a bully decided to put his ketchup-covered food on my head. You know the stories when you hear when you were young, when a child is trapped under a car and the mother finds the strength. All that adrenaline is kicking and the mother has the strength to lift up the car. Well, adrenaline, it really is a crazy thing. The bully that did this, put the ketchup food covered whatever on my head, he was large, much larger than me. But I managed to pick him up, throw him onto the lunchroom table, put him in a headlock, and start punching him on the head. So the bully became the victim. Was I sorry? Yes and no. I was fed up with the endless abuse. I held it in for so long. I did not take the time to talk with my parents about it. And teachers who I did talk to did not listen or take any action when they were informed about it by me. So all that lack of care and the dirty, half-eaten, slimy food on my head was the final trigger. So I snapped. That was my first suspension ever. I became the abuser and got the punishment. What did the bully get? Nothing. He was in school every day following the fight. And that made me feel even worse because I knew that I did not start the fight. I knew that I was the real victim and nothing at all was being done. I continued to lose my patience and started acting out against the bullies. I threw everything I had in myself and into the things I did for enjoyment. Music, hockey, and eventually photography. I began writing music for the punk band I was playing in. Eventually, one of the bands I was playing in became a hardcore scream style band, and guess who took the anger and frustration out in screams? Me. At one point during high school, I started to feel the effects of being bullied. The pressure was immense, and I was really struggling in school due to my undiagnosed, at the time, dyslexia. It's a mild case of dyslexia, but it was not until that point in my life that I found out that I was dealing with it. I was nearly done with high school. Eventually, I began taking more action than previously. And without getting into nitty-gritty of all that, one final situation. I can tell you this. I was expelled for fighting back. I almost missed my graduation, but thankfully, the school agreed to homeschooling for my final weeks. So, as long as I went to talk to a social worker. So you could say that the bullying I received in high school shaped my life. And in some ways, I have thicker skin now. I learned valuable lessons and know when to fight for something or to walk away. I try my hardest and do not care what others think. I help people who need it. I teach people who want to learn. I was bullied, but I am successful at what I do with my life. I still play music, and in fact, after high school, I attended Berklee College of Music for a short while. Eventually, I realized that music was not my future career, and I switched to photography. However, I continued playing in an amazing band called Fairmont, who still plays and records music today. Whenever I hear music like Macklemore's Same Love, I think about how much I was bullied. I am not gay, and that is not why I was bullied. It still hits home because the haters are haters. Bullies are bullies. But music can heal, inspire, and educate. And it can make your mind wander into daydreams where bullies do not exist. Music is powerful. So is photography. I mentioned that I am dyslexic, and it is something that I've been dealing with forever, apparently. It was not until late in high school, when I started talking to someone, did I get tested for it. Turns out that all my struggles in all of my classes, except music and gym, were related to being dyslexic. Yet, somehow I was hired to be a full-time blogger for an amazing company who makes WordPress products for photographers. And the craziest part of getting hired is how it happened. I did not apply for the job. In fact, I was not even looking for a new job. One day, while heading out to dinner with my wife, I received an email asking if I was looking for a job. Turned out that my boss was keeping an eye on my blog, social media, photography. He loved what I did and thought I was the perfect voice for his company. And the rest is history. If you are wondering how I get by writing for a living, I spent a lot of time running spell checks, using grammar-specific checker tools, having coworkers proofing, my wife red penning, and so on and so forth. I stay true to myself, speak my mind. I write how I speak. I learned that I can elaborate more when I write how it sounds in my head, rather than formal, like writing in formal ways. I am also colorblind, and I'm a photographer. My biological father passed away when I was 2 years old, and so I had the opportunity I did not have the opportunity to really know him. And as it turns out, I am just like him in so many ways. That's what my family says, at least. I know that he was colorblind, with the same severity as me. And he was a hobbyist photographer, a lover of Johnny Cash's music, and so much more. Apparently we were very much alike. My father and I both have what some do not consider to be color blindness. Basically, when two similar colors are side by side, they look like they're the same. For example, dark navy blue and black become one when they're side by side. Brown and darker oranges are one when they're side by side. This really makes it difficult, or did make it difficult, when I was going to school for photography, when I had to paint with color, or when I was in the darkroom processing color photographs. I had to learn how to adjust, how to see colors, contrasting colors that are not alike, and to know when to ask for help. To this day, I continue with this process. Whether it is in photography or what I am wearing, I am always thinking about the colors and asking for help. I always use expensive color calibration tools like the Color Monkey and the Color Checker Passport, which is the safest way for me to ensure that my colors are as accurate as I can be with my colorblindness. So adapting to your own disabilities and situations helps you grow as a person. In this video, I have talked about 3 reasons that I could have easily failed in my career and in many things in life. I am colorblind, dyslexic, and yet I am a full-time writer and freelance photographer. I learned from all the bullying I received in high school and grew thicker skin. I still would not wish it upon anybody and do not wish it upon anybody, and I wish that everyone would just simply get along. Every day during the week around dinner time, my wife and I sit down and we watch The Ellen Show. Her jokes, charm, and enthusiasm towards everything good and positive is infectious. At the end of almost every episode, Ellen looks right at the camera and she says, "Be kind to one another." Ellen DeGeneres changed the world, and hopefully one day her words will make an even bigger dent in bullying around the world. Until then, I want to encourage everyone who reads my articles or views this video to keep going. Keep fighting for yourself. Learn from what is happening in your life. Move beyond the bullying. Figure out how to do what you love when you have a disability. Be passionate about it and show that passion off. Be successful. Thank you.